Hey guys, and welcome back to the Curious Curators. I'm Hope.
And I'm Lindsay.
And today is a day.
It is a day.
So we have some news. This is going to be a little bit different of a podcast. So we have some news today.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that this is the final podcast.
Yep.
This is the final podcast. And we have known that for, I think, since last Friday.
Yeah.
We've known. So we weren't able to get together to film before this. So we are sorry that this one is up a little bit later than normal. But we did want to try to get it as normal as possible so it didn't seem like we just went MIA and then we're like, sorry, we're done.
Yeah. Just wanted to make sure you knew.
And I'll say I'm sad that we are not going to be doing this. But Lindsay and I have talked, and we've decided this is not going to be the end. It will be the end of this museum podcast.
Yes, and this platform, I guess, as far as being a platform for the museum.
Yes, but we will continue to record podcasts. We will...
On our own personal time.
The name will change. We will do it on our own time. And we will have a little bit more creative freedom doing it on our own.
Absolutely.
A lot more creative freedom doing it on our own. And I think that's good.
It is good. Fair warning. Our language is a little bit different.
Yes.
When we're not doing this in a professional capacity.
Yeah, we will. The censorship will be gone. We will be able to talk about grittier, raunchier, worse history.
Real history.
Yeah, the stuff that HBO might make a show about.
That's true. Still HBO, Shaka Zulu.
Yeah, or Showtime Stars, whatever.
Biopic.
At this point, Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix.
We're looking at you.
Where's my Shaka Zulu miniseries?
I know, we're looking at you. Shondaland, pick this up.
Yeah, come on.
Everything she touches turns to, absolute gold. So, pick that up. So
picked Bridgerton's and not Shaka Zulu? Come on.
I know, Bridgerton has turned into a gold mine. So I think she has a 6-show deal with Netflix, maybe. So there will be more.
Shaka Zulu.
I know, that would be so interesting.
Or a Josephine Baker biopic with Janelle Monáe as Josephine Baker.
Oh yeah, Janelle Monáe is stunning, isn't she? That would be a good one too. So we thought we would I thought, because I plotted this out in my head this morning because I woke up really early. So I thought maybe we could just reminisce a little bit before we go. So I just have a couple questions.
Good.
Okay. So what was your favorite podcast that we ended up doing?
Okay, this is going to be ridiculous.
Okay. Yes.
The very first one?
The 1920s?
Yes. I had a lot of fun researching that, and we were sitting in the exhibit.
In the rain.
It was raining really loud, and we were all just sitting on the floor of the exhibit around a bench where the mic was set up. I don't know, that one was just so memorable to me because it was such a dumpster fire.
Yes, it was. The filming of that one was interesting. I think that was before we kind of figured out our footing.
Yes.
When Wes was sitting in the corner with headphones on trying to listen to us, and that one was really interesting. It's astounding that we were actually able to film inside the exhibit, now that I think about it.
Yeah, and not only that, I guess, for me it was really interesting because I had, 7 pages of notes or something. I had a ridiculous amount.
And I had half a notebook page.
And so did Elijah. Elijah barely said anything during that whole podcast.
I know. That was when Elijah was here with us. It wasn't just the two of us.
It was just a really fun, it was a memorable experience. I don't know if it ever ended up being, my favorite at the, end result.
Yeah.
But going through that process of kind of finding our footing and stuff was really fun.
Yeah, that was really interesting.
Memorable.
I remember they edited me out because I said something, and they edited
Yes! Yes, she cursed.
I would not even call that cursing.
It was barely. And we try to keep the cursing out of this podcast
unless it's a quote.
It's a quote, because quote is historical fact. It's not something that needs to be censored. But yeah, that was
okay. So my favorite one was, this is not going to surprise you. It was ghost towns.
Okay, that was a good final product.
I thought ghost towns, I had a lot of fun researching ghost towns. I found out about one of the ghost towns that I did, and now I don't even remember. It's that abandoned like port city in Europe or Asia.
Oh gosh, that's a big
not
swath
Europe
of
or
land.
Asia, like Europe or the Middle East or something. It's I think we both ended up talking about it, I think.
Okay.
I'm literally drawing a blank. I should have grabbed my notes. But I read about it in a book. Like, it was a kind of book that I would never read. But I read about it in this one book, and I was interested in it. But also, of course, I got to talk about Centralia, Pennsylvania, one of my absolute, like, dream destinations.
We did have some really cool topics on that one.
And that was our most listened to podcast to date as well.
So that was a fan favorite as well.
So, okay, next one. Which one did you have the most fun researching or surprised you when you were researching?
I think the most fun researching would have had to been the Gangsters podcast.
Oh, that one was good. Yeah.
That one was a lot of fun to research and learning all of their nicknames, and we gave ourselves nicknames.
Oh, yeah, Moneybags.
The Shiv.
That one was
and
because
we sat there on like the Crime Museum website and took like a quiz to get our names, and I was Lindsay the Shiv Shirky.
And I was Hope Moneybags Vollum.
So I think that one was definitely the most fun for me to research. I learned a lot of really cool and fun stuff, and when I was watching the one about Virginia Hall and her like court clips, she was hilarious.
And yeah, that they have a big thing about her at the Mob Museum in Vegas as well. If you ever find yourself in Las Vegas, that is a really cool place.
Yes, the Mob Museum. That's where we took the quizzes online.
That's a super cool place to go. If anyone ever finds themselves in Las Vegas, go to Fremont Street, and you can literally see it from Fremont Street. So you have like the naked cowboys like framed in front of the National Museum of Crime and Punishment. Like, it's ridiculous. So I think my favorite one to research personally ended up being music festivals, just because of the trips that I took down memory lane while I was researching it. But I also really enjoyed kind of the I just drew a blank. No, I enjoyed the Wild West one because I always have a soft spot for the bad guy.
I know you do.
For whatever reason. So I really enjoyed the Wild West one.
Everybody knows.
It also like made me just want to dress up like a saloon girl and just... Have you ever seen the music video for Cowboy Casanova by Carrie Underwood?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so she's dressed up like, it's like a saloon girl look.
Okay.
Stunning. And I just was like picturing that almost the whole time. When I think of that podcast, that's what I think of.
When my family went, well, it was like a girls' part of the family went to Helen, Georgia. They had like a dress up booth and stall. And my mom and sister, Courtney, of course, Courtney is infamous in the office.
She is.
Dressed up as saloon girls. And I wanted to be like a cowboy Annie Oakley, so I had like my hair in pigtails, and I was dressed up like a cowboy, and I had the guns and everything.
Do you remember like when we were younger, that was like the thing to do if you went to like a fair, a vacation, anything? That was like taking those old-fashioned photographs was the thing to do. I mean, I quite like the look of them. I think they're fun. Yeah. But okay, so next, what is a podcast that you wish that we had the opportunity to do?
Oh, you might need to go first on this one. I have to think. Okay,
so one of the ones that I really wish that we were able to do was a mythology-based one. I would have been happy with any type of mythology. I know that you know a lot about mythology from like South America and from Asia.
Mesoamerica mostly, like Aztecs and Mayans mostly.
And probably Asia as well. Because, yeah. And I've known more like European-based, but there's so many mythologies around. And I think we both like Greek mythology. Thank you, Zena.
That's true. And my mom just gifted me a Hercules box set because she got an extra. And I was like, got it? I did get it.
Yay.
And she was like, do you want this? And I was like, I guess so. She's like, what's the problem? I was like, I kind of wanted Zena more.
Lucy Lawless is a spectacular human being.
Hasn't aged a day.
She's
had some ambrosia, drank from the fountain of youth.
10 out of 10. But I would have liked to do a mythology something. I actually really enjoy. So my favorite Greek god is Ares.
I wonder why.
Well, first because Kevin Smith that played Ares in Hercules and Xena.
Yep.
May he rest in peace. But also because Ares, I feel like, is villainized so much that he never had a chance to not be like the bad guy in the laughingstock, and I just feel bad for him.
I really like Artemis because she just hangs out in the wood with a bunch of animals and no men are allowed near her, and that's a vibe.
Actually, fair.
I'm like, I'm there with you, Artemis.
I can't blame her for that.
I'll hang out there in the woods with all the woodland creatures, and
I really can't blame her for that. Like,
no,
she's probably happy.
But I will say I did like, and this is just from Hercules' influence, Aphrodite and Hephaestion as a couple.
Yeah.
Because he was like limp. And of course he was really good looking in the show. And they were like,
yeah,
he's supposed to be ugly, but he had like a scar. And he had a limp.
And Aphrodite is like a surfer. like a I Dream of Jeannie type surfer.
I loved that interpretation of her.
I liked her as well.
She was a fun character. Regardless, favorite Greek myth person would be Artemis, I think.
And for some reason,
I do like Hades and Persephone.
I love the Hades and Persephone myth a lot.
Yeah.
They do a lot of retellings of that and like books and everything. Beauty and the Beast is even kind of a Hades and Persephone retelling.
True.
So I quite enjoy those. But then I picture like the Hades from Hercules, like from the cartoon where he's blue.
Oh, okay. I was like, well, he was actually like pretty
Attractive.
good looking in Hercules' legendary journeys.
Okay, so what happened to these like mid to late 90s like stunning
hunks or whatever?
Because I looked up Mel Gibson. I sent you a photo last night of Mel Gibson, and I was like, how is this the man that we watched in The Patriot? Because like, okay,
a lot of them didn't age very well.
I mean, really, and I mean, not to be like aging so well, but like, come on now.
But the women aged beautifully.
Oh, I know.
Lucy Lawless.
I looked at a picture the other day of Beyonce when she was 21, and I'm pretty sure
she looks the same.
Exactly the same. Not a single wrinkle, nothing. I was like, that's not Beyonce when she was 21. That's Beyonce right now. Like,
and I'm not saying like she's the epitome of beauty, but Oprah looks the same.
I know, like, nothing ever happens to them.
No.
Like, they don't age at all. And then you see, like, James Masters that played Spike. Did you guys know he wasn't even blonde?
You know, I was extremely disappointed when I found that out.
Like, I might cry right
All
now.
of the iconic blondes in movies, not blonde. Malfoys aren't blonde.
How do you say the guy who played Angel, David Boreanaz? You know what I'm talking about? The guy that played Angel, it's like David Boreanaz, something like that. It's like Boreanaz, whatever.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not really a Buffy person.
He hasn't aged. Because he was Booth on Bones as well.
Oh, yeah, he was.
He hasn't aged at all.
I never really found him that attractive to begin with.
I think he's attractive in like a good old American way, you know?
That's true. He makes a good FBI agent.
Yeah, something like that. I personally enjoy like skinny British boys that wear tight pants, but like here we
leather pants specifically.
Leather denim, just probably tighter than mine. Like,
well, you're wearing skirt right
well,
now. So.
I hope their pants are tighter than mine. But yeah. So what about you?
Now that I thought about it, I would have loved to have done a lot more Asia-centric podcasts. We always tried to come to a compromise where we both knew something about it, which is why we didn't delve into Asia a lot, because
I know very little.
She knows very little. My master's degree was on Southeast Asian archaeology.
I mean, to be fair, we could have had a podcast where you teach me things.
That's true. But like we never kind of went over into one or the other that we were highly specialized in. Because I feel like you are very specialized in a lot of European histories.
Yeah, and
I mean, we dabbled in some of those, but that's because I had some knowledge of it, like especially the Roman emperors.
Yeah.
Like, we both had a favorite Roman emperor.
Well, remind me to show you something. I got a thing of all the Roman emperors reconstructed, and I'll show it to you later.
So, like, we both had a favorite Roman emperor, and that's pretty, like, general knowledge, but Southeast Asia is a really difficult... It's very niche.
There's a lot going on. Like, it's not just like this little small place where nothing ever. There's a lot. Like, they have a extremely long history.
Well, and then I would be asking you to do a bunch of research on stuff that I spent years researching, And then I would just sit here and be like, that's wrong.
Also,
did you read the Wikipedia page? Because that's wrong.
I would never be able to pronounce. And
that's
Lindsay
true.
I
would be coaching you.
Every time I would be like, how do you say? I literally just...
Udaya Ditya Varman II.
I literally just did that for like a Hollywood person. Like, yeah,
that's true.
I literally
not 5 minutes ago. But I think maybe in the future when we do our own podcast, we're going to have to do a Southeast Asia one because Raya and the Last Dragon came out. And that's based on like a fictionalized version of Southeast Asia. And I was totally here for it.
I have a fantasy book that I want to read that it takes place in... It might be China. It might be Japan. It might be China. It's called The Poppy Wars.
That's probably China.
It's fantasy.
Regardless, I wish we'd done a lot more Asian stuff because in my master's I specialized in Southeast Asian archaeology and I lived in Japan 2 different times in my life, so I know a decent amount about that, and that was kind of always my niche. I know a decent amount about Chinese history.
And you've been to there as well.
I've been to China. Actually, when I first applied for my master's program, I said I wanted to specialize in South Asia or East Asia. And I ended up in Southeast Asia. So, because I had more specialized knowledge in India and China and Japan. But I got pulled into a program that was Southeast Asia. But so I kind of have a lot of knowledge of East Asia and Southeast Asia. Mm-hmm. And I would have loved to have delved into my region of expertise.
Yeah, and I'm like, I mean, clearly you would have taught me a lot, just because I think it's interesting. I just don't know enough, and you're right. Like, if the only way that you learn is through like Wikipedia, or translating sites from another language to English,
that's rough.
That isn't always the best way to go about things, like. Because I don't know, if you translate a lot into English, you lose, it's nonsensical.
Yeah. I've
had that problem when I was traveling to Ukraine. I had that problem translating from Ukrainian to English, and then it becomes like nonsensical.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
And the problem with like especially Southeast Asian history is there's not a lot of it on Wikipedia, and a lot of sources outside of it can be difficult to find unless you know what you're looking for. Because I've just tried to do that just a cursory thing where I'm thinking, wait, what's the name of that one guy again? And I'll type it in and, nothing comes up.
Yeah.
It's just not a very thorough history online or that kind of stuff. You really have to find the specialized papers.
And JSTOR costs.
Yeah, and we don't have JSTOR. And that's where a lot of them are.
That's so strange. We should, you would think we would have JSTOR, but we don't.
Well, and that's a whole other, putting a paywall over learning is...
Yeah. That's why people are amateur historians. Because you can't read articles.
Yeah.
You can read the abstract of the article.
That's true.
So helpful. Really.
I have very strong opinions about JSTOR, but we won't get into that because that's not what this podcast is about.
It makes me angry as well. Do you have any questions or concerns or things that you would like to say?
No, this podcast is and always has been your baby.
It has been. I was very upset when we came to the decision to call it quits for the podcast. I was pretty upset. I fought pretty hard for this podcast.
Hope has fought to have it, and then after that fought to keep it every step of the way. And
fought to give ourselves creative control of it.
Yeah. And I always supported it, but you were really always the catalyst for it.
And because, we were doing world history. My head looks funny with my hair like that with this jacket. Sorry. We were doing world history, and then we were asked to do regional history, and that didn't work out for us or for our listeners.
Audience, yeah.
And then we went back, and I guess it is time, because we have outgrown wanting, there are things that we want to do that we're not able to do.
Yeah.
So we have been outgrowing it anyway, which is why, like I said, we will be working on it ourselves in our own time. But it is still, I think, sad. The podcast and the book reviews are both ending this week.
Yeah.
And so this is the second thing that I have had to film this week where
saying a goodbye.
I have to say goodbye. And, like, that's a rough week, and it's only Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, that's a really rough week for us, and it's only Tuesday. But, you know, it's not goodbye forever. It's goodbye.
For now.
For now on this platform. And, like, that's okay. It's just, it is a little bit sad, but, like, I do, of course, want to say thank you for supporting us.
Thank you for tuning in and listening.
Like, thank you for giving us a space that we can just talk about the things in history that interest us, within reason, that interest us and intrigue us, and also that we hated. We talked about some things that we didn't enjoy. And I think you might be able to tell. But
there have been podcasts that we've
just been like, is this a joke? But, you know, I do want to just say thank you for being supportive. And you know what? Always being kind.
Yeah.
Always being kind. Never telling us, never mansplaining to us, never telling us that we're dumb.
Nobody's saying, God, I hate the sound of your voice.
Yeah, like, and...
Which I think we both think about our own voices.
I do. If you only knew how hard it is to edit when you have to listen to yourself in your ear for however long.
I just think I sound like such a pretentious know-it-all.
And I sound like a valley girl.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it works well, because there is that, but... Yeah, like that.
You sound relatable and I sound informed.
Yeah, you sound like Lindsay sounds like she did the research, and I sound like I looked at her research and I was like, alrighty then, let's talk.
Which is not true. We both have the same level of education.
I just talk like...
You have a master's in museum studies and I have a master's in archaeology.
Yeah, like
it's just a little different.
We're both intelligent. We just present ourselves
the way
differently.
we talk. Well, you know, like right now I'm wearing a Christmas sweater in March.
And I'm wearing a sundress and it's cold outside, so...
Yeah. You wear sandals in January, so I figure why not wear a Christmas sweater in March?
Like, we're super together. But, I mean, I think that's the main point of this, is to say thank you. To say thank you and to say that we'll miss it, but we will be back. So just keep an eye or an ear out.
Keep your ear to the ground. There will be a new podcast.
Yes. And, you know, I'll share it on my social media. Lindsay doesn't really use social media.
Could you tell who was the social media person by the way we talk? So
I'll share this new podcast on my social media once we get
I will. I mean,
going.
I have a Facebook account. I just haven't posted on it in like a year. And I have an Instagram. I just haven't posted on it in, you know, a really long time.
I have 2 Instagrams and a Facebook, so I'll post on it too. I might try to make a social media for the new podcast, but it's just we literally found out Friday. We're still in the planning stages.
Yes,
we found out Friday, and then we didn't work together again until today.
Yeah, and Hope needs to get the equipment.
Yes, that's what I'm going to buy with my stimulus check is equipment.
I already have
food.
I actually have the exact microphone we're using. We bought this microphone because we liked my microphone.
Yeah,
and it was a gift from my brother because the guitar jack didn't work, and they sent him another one and said to keep the broken one. And I don't play guitar.
Yeah, so I need to buy a mic and a webcam, and then then we're set.
I have a mic and a webcam because you may not know this about me, but Hope certainly does. I stream Dungeons and Dragons. So
I'll throw your Twitch name in the...
Please don't throw my Twitch name down there. I don't need it associated with my professional life. But I do stream Dungeons and Dragons on Twitch. So I have a whole setup.
Yeah. So like Lindsay is prepared. I am not. I mean, I have a webcam, but like...
And I sometimes stream Elder Scrolls. It's been a while since I've done that, but...
I do nothing. I literally...
You do BookTube.
No, I do. I do BookTube, and I have a Bookstagram, which is a book Instagram. And go ahead and hate me for saying all that because I sound so extra. But yeah, so
because you are extra.
I usually just like commandeer our equipment from here. But I'm going to buy equipment in the next couple of days. So in the next month or so, we should have everything off the ground and ready to go. So tune in for the raunchier, more dangerous side of history.
Yeah.
I keep saying raunchier because I'm like, all my favorite historical shows came on HBO.
Right.
Okay, well, I guess that's all that we have for you today, guys. And I did the same thing on the book review where I was like, I'll see you next time. And then I was like, but I won't because there's no next time.
So thank you guys. There's no next time.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.